Yeah? You're making me angry. Oh, am I?
Hello people, and welcome back to another Let's Talk about it. Today I'm talking about the 2004 Hulk movie. Yeah, this was an interesting one to watch. As always, not as always, but most of the time Let's Talk about it is quite unscripted, and with today's video, it will also be unscripted, so sorry if I begin to ramble a bit. First thing I kinda want to talk about is the strange editing style. This film was pretty notorious for trying to look like a comic book, and in my opinion that's not a bad thing, but the way they try and do it just doesn't work. It's too much of stuff which just doesn't work. In my opinion, the best movie that has been able to recreate the look of a comic is Scott Pilgrim. What is cool, and I'd love to see more films try and do that. Even a superhero film would be cool, but with this movie it feels much more messy than cool. Now this film actually involves Bruce Banner's origin quite a bit, not just him getting into the Gamma accident, but actually his comic origin of his trauma. Now if you didn't know, Hulk in the comics has a lot of trauma and problems because as a child he had an abusive father who wouldn't treat him or his mother exactly well. This caused Bruce Banner to develop DID, dissociative identity disorder, and technically that is where Hulk comes from, kind of. It's a bit more complicated as certain writers change it a little, but technically that is still very much canon for the character in the comic. To be honest, I am quite glad that the movie decided they were going to at least attempt to tackle that conversation. They don't mention his DID. There's only a couple of scenes of where you could be like, oh, they're hinting at it, but yeah, I don't believe this Bruce Banner full on has it, but I do believe his version of the Hulk obviously comes from the trauma. I think that's very good. I kinda wish we could get a Hulk film now, what actually decides to talk about that conversation, but I don't think we will. Now, even though I really like that they were willing to talk about that instead of just avoiding it, this film isn't great. I don't think it's necessarily super bad, but I also don't think it's good. The main actor for Bruce Banner He's doing an okay job. There's definitely moments in the film where he's really, really good. But I also think, at least in the beginning of the film, his character feels quite flat. Like, there's not much emotion to when he delivers a line. And I know you could say, oh, that's because Bruce Banner's trying to hold his emotions. But the problem with that is Bruce, yes, can control his emotions somewhat well at times, especially when he learns how to do it. But he still has emotions. He doesn't speak very flat in the comics. He'll speak his mind and he has emotion to him. Maybe this is just me, but yeah, at least in the beginning of the film, a lot of the character's delivery feels quite flat. The main villain of this movie is Bruce Banner's father, who I don't think is a bad choice, since this film doesn't want they're not avoiding the whole trauma. But I think the problem is they make him absorbing man, what in my opinion just doesn't work. Now, the reason I don't like it isn't because of it being Absorbing Man. I actually quite like Absorbing Man in the comics. It's more of the fact of Bruce Banner's father is not Absorbing Man. Absorbing Man in the comics has always, at least to me, been kinda like Sandman. Your kinda average criminal turned super. And I always kinda liked those heroes, they're always fun. I kinda feel like they could've left Absorbing Man. I mean, they could've made Bruce's father into a different villain. I feel like it would have worked better. A character I did actually think was done pretty well is Thunderbolt Ross, aka Red Hulk normally. His character is done really well. You can understand why he thinks the way he does. The reason he hates Bruce so much is because he's scared that he'll become his father. What is interesting, I think, is something what could be really developed. Well, again, if this film got a sequel, I would be interested to see where it would have went. I'm guessing it would have been Bruce trying to run and hide from the government, similar to the Incredible Hulk movie. That's actually why I think so many think the Incredible Hulk is a sequel to this movie, even though they aren't. They're two separate films. The dialogue in this movie it's weird. It can be really good, or it can be really bad at times. It's very mixed. Because there's certain moments where I'm like, oh, that actually works really well, and then there's moments where I'm like, that doesn't, something is off about it. But yeah. Anyway, I probably should talk about the big thing. The CGI in this movie is not good. It looks very uncanny. I don't know what makes it look like that. I have a feeling it's because Hulk's proportions aren't realistic, and you can get away with that in comics, but with film, it's an entire other thing. I don't like judging a movie off of its CGI, but I understand why someone would with a film like this. With a movie character like Hulk, you can need CGI to make him, or practical effects, but the problem is if those practical effects or even CGI effects look off, it can put someone out of the movie. Now I can handle it slightly, but I can really see someone really not being able to watch this just by that fact alone. But yeah, the CGI for this film is not good. This movie's action scenes can be very fun and actually pretty decent. A lot of the fight scenes with Hulk against the military are really good. But then there's fight scenes like the end of the film and the fight with the Hulk dogs. They just don't work. It's always at night. What, yeah, I guess could be a nod to the fact Hulk used to only appear at night time in the comics. But in this film, when it's night, you can barely see anything what's going on. So see the scene with Hulk fighting the Hulk dogs. You can barely tell what's happening in that scene besides the glowing green eyes of the Hulk dogs. It's annoying. Even though I don't like the CGI, I still would like to be able to see the actual action. There's a scene in this film where it happens quite randomly, but it's cool. It's a very good scene. Basically Bruce looks into a mirror and sees Hulk looking back at him. And it's a very random scene. It happens out of nowhere, but it's good. Like, it's something what's happened in the comics a lot. It's a visual that has happened a lot. So it's very cool to see done in live action. But I kinda hate how it comes out of nowhere and nothing similar ever happens in the movie. Overall, I can't say I liked this movie, but I can't say I hated it. I'd give this film 3 stars. There's definitely good stuff in it and interesting ideas, but I don't think it's used completely well. I do think the people who worked on the film clearly liked the character and wanted to go off of the source material, but the film still just doesn't work in my opinion. Was sad, but it's the truth to me at least. You could maybe think this film works. Anyway, thank you for watching, and if you liked this video then you can like the video, or you can even dislike the video. That's all, and goodbye.